Hey y'all. So, I've been doing this series on um, other travelers I've met, like solo travelers I've met that have been significantly impactful in my life. I found them to be empowering and special. And the interactions that we had were just remarkable. That's all I can say. So, like as I said before in other videos, you meet a lot of people when you travel, and the experiences are always different. But if you stay tuned to this one, you're going to hear about somebody who's extremely special to me. I mean, they're all special in their own way. But this person, we spent a lot of time together, and just hold on and wait for this, okay? All right, because it's coming. Now, the business. Hey, y'all. If it's your first time here, I just want to say welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you are returning family, I want to say welcome back. I'm so glad to see you. It's been way too long. Okay? So, on this channel, you know I focus on travel, my love of travel, and how I feel driven to travel. But I also, at the core of my soul, am a social worker. That is my chosen profession. And having worked in that field for the longest time, I feel like it is so important to me that no matter where I go, what I do, that I'm trying to leave things better than I found them, being respectful of other people's cultures, and learning as much as I can along the way. So this channel, I try to focus on the life lessons I've learned, the experiences I've had through travel by telling travel stories and sort of impact stories of my travel, but also the journey of finding my own purpose, my own mission, my own personal mission, right? And like a focus on what I would like to be my legacy, what I like to leave behind. I don't have any children, but I have a lot of God kids. I have a lot of God kids. So and very fortunate to have one named after me, and yeah, I think there's only one named after me. And I really truly appreciate her. She's special. She knows that she's mine. Special D. Anywho, this video is about someone else who I met in Peru. But the reason why I didn't include her in my Peru video of, empowering women that I've met during my solo travels, and like that was really impactful, is because she's in a little bit of a different category, right? Most of the other people, if you hear me tell the stories, then you know that I've known them briefly. I've typically known them briefly, maybe a couple of weeks, a couple of days to a couple of weeks, a couple of months, but like intermittent interactions, right? Like not every day. Or I had quite a few interactions with, but it was on a different level and it was a shorter time during the day. While this person, this R, and yeah, we're gonna call her RW. This RW, she's from Germany, and we spent so many nights talking about life and drinking wine together. Let me tell you this, this a little, I digress. You know, I digress. That's kind of what I do, right? So, this particular young woman and I used to drink a lot of wine together, and we used to go to the store, like basically like the corner store, and go and get this wine. And when I tell you, this wine was, I think, the equivalent of $3. It was somewhere between $2 and $3. It was really inexpensive, and it was in a box, in a carton, right? So you would think like this can't be good, but it was such good wine. I was like, what in the world? I think the wine was from Chile, but if I'm not mistaken, if my memory serves me correctly, the wine was from Chile. But it came in a box and it was less than $3, and we enjoyed this wine like on a regular basis. So we would have these sort of wine times together. We also traveled together many times, and yeah, I found her to be so interesting. And there's somebody else who is an honorable mention in this, and this is my J friend, also from Germany, who I did get a chance to see when I went to Germany. We met up in Munich and had a wonderful, wonderful time. She's also another person who I just admire. She's done a lot of traveling. She's been so adventurous and so kind. And there's actually a story I can tell of this RW and J coming together to help me overcome some fears and to manage some rough roads, literally rough roads. So but this RW, who I spent so much time with, was just an amazing young woman. She was, I believe, had already graduated from college, if my memory serves me correctly, because this was several years ago. But she had already graduated from college and was in a, already in a very committed relationship. And she was funny and insightful, and she was like one of these people who I felt like I could just trust with my life. Why is my nose shining like I'm Rudolph here? But she was one of these people who I felt like I could confide in. And let me say this, as a prior therapist, I used to have to make people feel very comfortable that they could kind of tell me whatever was going on with them, and feel comfortable that I wasn't going to. I'm trying to adjust this light because it is just glaring off my glasses and looking a hot mess, but we need the light so you can see me. So I'm trying to figure out what's going to be the best way to maneuver this. Down, up, maybe up a little bit. Okay. All right, bear with me. I'm going to have to try to sit back a little, or I don't know. Anyway, so as I said, we did sort of a few different excursions together, had, a good time. Just a good time. It was just wonderful. And she was the kind of, getting back to me being a therapist. Yeah. So me being a therapist, I had to be the kind of person that people felt comfortable telling me their deepest secrets, and feeling comfortable that I wouldn't share them with anyone else. That indeed I was, sort of listening to this information with the intention of trying to help them sort through what they were experiencing and figure out how to get the best possible outcomes from these kinds of the situation that they would find themselves in. So, it was like, I think I was fairly able to create like a judgment-free zone. This light is just really annoying me to no end, and I just can't figure out what to do about it. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Anyway, so being that person, used to being the one who people come to, I sort of had I've always been a little bit, held my own personal feelings and things close to my chest, because, usually people feel more comfortable talking to you when you're not trying to make it all about you. You know what I mean? So I think I've kind of come to a place in my life where I try to, listen twice as much. That's what that old, I think is an old Indian proverb kind of says, like, listen twice as much as you speak. That's why you have two ears and only one mouth, right? So I think I have always tried to be that person. But for some reason, when it came to RW, oh my goodness, we would talk about everything under the sun, and we would like thick as thieves, like every day. Like I said, we had this other ritual. We used to go and get these empanadas. There was this really great empanada spot, and if one went without the other, we'd always bring the other one back, an apple empanada, because that was like our favorite dessert. It was just like so amazing. But they had these really, really good empanadas. So that's something that we did on a regular basis. We would do that. We would have the empanadas, and like I said, we would drink wine. That was just our routine. And I remember we went on this excursion one day, and I think it was like to a reservoir. We went by a reservoir or something, and everybody went down this hill, and not me though, but everybody else went down this hill, and was kind of having like this adventurous thing, but I had this fear of falling that was like, and what I know is being older, what you don't want to do is fall. You don't want to fall, because you break stuff. This is the reality of getting older, and like if you don't know, you will know at some point that this is the reality of life when you get older. So I I didn't get out. I remember we were on a bus. I did not get out that bus because I had this huge fear of falling, and not only did I not want to be embarrassed by falling, but I knew that I would have difficulty getting up. And I also know that because of my illness, sometimes I have enough energy to go somewhere and do something, but I don't have quite enough energy to get back, right? Like I have a few stories like that. So that will require me being rescued. And what I didn't want to be is, the old woman on the trip who, ruined everything and had to be rescued, right? I already had other issues, and I'll tell more stories about other issues. But this I didn't want to do, so I stayed on the bus. But let me tell you, RW was so like kind and understanding, and just made me feel at ease. And I had written something like a journal, because I was at the time I was sort of writing a blog. I was writing a blog, and it still exists. I mean, I could give it if anybody wanted to see it. I could link it. Maybe one day I will. But I was writing this blog entry, and I was in this thing being very vulnerable and talking about the fact that I wasn't participating in this activity because I was afraid of falling. And, I kind of saw it as like a metaphor for life, like how I was not living my life fully because I was afraid of falling. I was afraid of failing in life and the embarrassment that failure would cause. And so I sort of wrote about this in this little blog entry in my iPad as I sat there as they were frolicking and having a good old time. So anyway, when she returned to the bus, I shared this piece that I had written with her, and with teary eyes, she just like, she gave it back, and she just like held my hand and like basically like hugged me through this handshake. And just was letting me know that she understood, and that I wasn't like alone in this struggle, like that we all struggle basically. And we had like good talks or whatever, but it was so interesting that I opened up to her in this way. It was really interesting. I think that might have been the first time that I really opened up to her, and I think subsequent conversations, we both shared a lot of things that we had experienced in life, and that was that thing, right? So that was great. And there was another trip that I mentioned in a previous video that I had, that like in the Peru video, I mentioned that my favorite place in Peru, even though there's so many beach towns and it's wonderful, and Lima is the capital and it's fun and it's nice and blah blah blah, but my favorite place was Cajamarca. And they have just amazing like mountains, and that's where they have a lot of like cows. And so this particular region, they make cheese, and cheese is not that like loved or beloved as it is maybe in the States and maybe other places like in Europe or whatever, in like South America or like in Africa, and definitely not in Asia. Like cheese is really not their thing. So finding decent cheese was like a real task. But here I am. I went to Cajamarca, and they had these nice little village cheese makers, and I had good cheese, and it was so wonderful. And we also found some other restaurants. But we went on a hike. I'm trying to remember if it was just a mountain or if it was a temple or cave. I can't recall exactly what it was. I know that it was a rainy day, which was already and we had on rain ponchos and such. I remember this. And I remember that RW and J, how they held me up, because it was, the rocks were so slippery, and as I said, I was so afraid of falling, but I wanted so desperately to get over my fear of falling. So desperately wanted to get over my fear of failing. So I went on this excursion with them, and I tried anyway. And I did pretty well. I'm not gonna lie, I did pretty well. There were a few tight spaces. I remember we kind of had to climb through this like cave-ish, like a hole in a rock, and you had to like kind of crawl through. And I'm not very agile, and bigger than just about every Peruvian as well. I mean, this is my life story. I'm bigger than the average person. And so I had to be helped. I had to literally crawl because I couldn't stoop, like sort of duck walk through this little hole like some people could do. I had to literally crawl on my hands and knees, and these knees that are arthritic knees, like were like, we need to be replaced. But here I was. And RW, when I tell you, RW coached me through this. RW and Jay helped pull me through, pull me up, pull me out, did whatever they needed to do to keep me steady and stable. They were reassuring me that I had people in my life that would support me even if I failed. So the lessons that I learned being in spaces with RW and Jay, because I'm not going to leave Jay out, were just incredible. But I just happened to have had way more interactions with RW. Like I said, we had like that nightly ritual with the wine and all, we were, just chilling together. That's kind of what we did. And that's how, that was how we rolled. So I can't say enough. I can't say enough how much I value the friendship. When RW left Peru before I did, and when I left, they gave me this little itty bitty thing, which I actually have. I still have it to this day. I put a pin on it that my brother was in the Navy for 24 years, and he had given me this little pin. I had asked, like, when I would travel, I like to take something with me of people that I love. Like, so, like one of my best friends, I had her scarf, and my brother had given me this Navy pin. And so anyway, I put it on here. So RW gave me this little thing, and I want you to know that this little thing has been with me through so many countries and so many things. I want to say since 2013, 14, either 2013 or 2014. No, yeah, maybe 2014. I want to say 2014, so 10 years. 10 years ago, RW wrote me this little note. And I know it's backwards, but it says for Robin. And gave it to me as they were leaving, And oh, look, I don't even have to guess, because this note was written in 2015. They write their numbers a little bit different, but it was 2015. That one looked like I don't know what letter to call it, like the J without the hook. But yeah. And and wrote, "I will miss you the most of all the people in Pimentel, Peru, South America." Yeah. And she says she looked forward to eating schnitzel with me in Berlin, with extra love and happiness. And, hasta luego, your friend, RW. But anyway, I held on to it. I've held on to it all these years. 10 years later, I still have it. Isn't that something? So just to give you an idea of how significant, some of the interactions I've had with people have been, and like I said, everybody is significant in a way, because you're forever changed by having the interaction with them. But there's just something about some people that make you just like, so I have that. But I will forever treasure the fact that RW and Jay helped me to learn a lesson about myself, about life, and reminded me of my resilience and my ability to make a way out of no way, how to be my best self and accept my mistakes, missteps, the things that aren't as successful, because those things are the learning blocks to me getting to where I want to be and being who I want to be, right? Those learning blocks of progression are even your missteps. It tells you where not to go, so you can go a different way and see if that works better. So anyway, I credit RW for that, and I credit Jay for that, and I hope that I will see them again. I actually did see RW again, and she brought her baby with her, and since then she's had another baby. And yes, I saw her when I was in Berlin. So I've been very fortunate to meet amazing people, and as I said, I was able to see Jay when I was in Munich the first time, because I've actually been to that region, that Bavaria region, a few times, and yeah. All right, every time I think about RW, I smile and I think of wine. I do. I smile and I think of wine. Also, that box wine is too funny. Because when you're a backpacker on a budget, every dime counts, or as in Peru, every soles counts. So yeah, each soles counts. So when I think of Peru, I think of, like I said, my familia, mi familia, Peruano. I think about the best ceviche on the planet. I don't care. I've been other places. I've had ceviche other places. Never as good as when I was in Peru. I'm just saying. And I would think of boxed wine, inexpensive boxed wine, well worth the few dollars that we had to pay each time. The conversations were incomparable, so invaluable, just absolutely marvelous. Just sometimes just being able to be that free, being able to just talk about whatever's going on with you, it's just such a gift. Like, where you've been, where you are, where you want to go, it's a gift. It's a gift. And not everybody, you can't talk to everybody, that's for sure. But when you find the people that you can, oh, that's a good thing. You got something good. And RW is that. So anyway, I just want to say thank you, because she might actually see this video. She might. I believe she may have subscribed. Maybe. If she hasn't, I will encourage her to do so. At any rate, now the business of YouTube. If you haven't done so already, please like this video. Please do. I would greatly appreciate it. I feel like, yes, it was a personal story of mine, but it also was some insight into the kinds of people you meet and the bonds that can be formed when you are traveling. There's like so many good things that can happen on a trip, especially when it's slow travel, when you have an opportunity to really delve into a community and spend like quality time with people. So many good things can happen. I mean, that's not to say that you don't have a good time when you are quick with everything. Yeah, there's something to be said for that too. And that's why I've had, like sort of quick mini vacations in between the time, like, going on these little excursions or whatever. But there is nothing, and I mean nothing, like meeting a good person and having a connection and feeling that that connection isn't broken even through miles and miles away, years and years apart. You still feel that connection. And I'm honored to say that I still feel that connection with her, even though we don't talk that frequently. She's a very busy person, with her partner and her two children. She's very busy. So, and I appreciate that. But there is nothing that I don't want for her that I know she wants for me, which is great things. There's nothing that I would want but great things to happen for her and her family. And I thank her so much for being the extraordinary woman that she is and has been to me. So, as I like to say in every video, it is indeed an honor and a pleasure for me to be able to share my world with you. That the fact that you allow me to do so, it means the world to me. It honestly means the world to me that I get to share my world with you, honestly. And I appreciate you. I appreciate the greatest commodity that you will ever have, which is your time. It is so valuable and precious. And I encourage you to do whatever you need to do in order for you to find the balance that makes you feel the best and that makes you feel happy and joyful and doing the things that you want to do. I want you to feel encouraged, inspired, and supported to follow those dreams and pursue your passions. I mean, we make our own dreams come true. That is a secret that nobody tells you when you're a kid. We make our own dreams come true. We usually are the greatest barrier between our current situation and the situation that we want. Typically, it's us in a way. So, if anything, if nothing else, I would like to encourage you to get out of your own way and do the thing that you need to do for you. Okay? As I like to say, do good and be better. Meaning, it would be wonderful if you could be a better version of yourself today than you were yesterday, and an even better version tomorrow. Okay? That is the goal. That is that progress happening. That is, and with the right mindset, I'm just telling you, the mindset of abundance, there's nothing that can stop you. So, with that all being said, as Chef Sahara likes to say, with that being said, I just want to say, until the next time, ciao for now.